We're just gonna have to. Lordy, 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 Lordy. We're live now. We are live.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear
And I can
me.
hear you. All right.
Great. We're live. So here's how this goes. You invite and spam everyone on your Facebook, and I will do the same. Because that's how we do this here. We're live. Everyone on your Facebook. Stop talking. All right. Anyway, how you feeling today, sir? You good?
Listen, we'll get to how I'm feeling. How are you feeling? Well,
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm always good. How are you?
Always good. That's when people say that, I get real skeptical because it's like, are you though?
Every day that I open my eyes and take a breath, opportunity to be better. So no matter what transpires the other day, I'm still good as long as I'm alive. So
Well, we
I'm
praise
always
God
good.
for that. We praise
God
God
is
for
good.
that. He is
You know,
all the time.
you know it. You know it. But for real, how you been?
Hey, listen. It's
Mm-hmm.
Thursday.
There you
It's
go.
Thursday.
We're gonna make space for everything. There's time and place, but that breath right there said it all. How are you feeling, sister?
I am good. I am good. It's just been a long week, like funerals and
Mm-hmm.
sessions,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. I don't. Tell
We
me.
here. We here.
We are.
Um, I'm good. I think how like there's sometimes where you think you got things and you're managing emotions and things are going like, I got this. This is good. Huh. And then you take a step back and like, oh, that I could have handled that way better. It's like one of those. So,
And you will.
mhm,
You will, right?
yeah, that
I
is the
think
goal. That's why we're
even
here.
every time I hear you talk, I think I always tell you like from the second I met you, it was like I was drawn to you because every time I hear you talk, I just hear like this constant journey of like improvement, evolution, right? Learning from the day before, being better, like so much so I have to look at myself like, am I doing the work on myself that I need to be doing? Like, so I get it.
I appreciate it. You're
I'm with
echoing
you.
again. Are you watching the live also while being on the live? Is that
I
what's
love looking at myself. No, I'm not.
happening? Hi, Wayne. How are you, sir? Yes, we are.
So talk to me.
First of all, I don't read people. I just feel like there's this thing where don't lie to me. I just don't like being lied to. It's like those
I
blanket
agree with Wayne,
assumptions.
by the way. I do agree with Wayne.
What?
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I don't read people. I promise you. Like I just listen, and I don't know. Maybe it's like it's like the way that the Lord works with me. Maybe it's like um I don't know, woman's intuition. I don't know what it is, but it's like I see the pain. So it's like, why are you trying to hide it? I don't know. Like safe spaces. That's why we're here. Because it's about
Mm.
the safe space, share. Yes, psychoanalyzing only when it's needed. I don't psychoanalyze. I am just observant.
Hmm.
Wayne, thank you. Anyway, have you invited your people?
How do I do that? I'm just curious.
How about you go on your phone,
Okay.
you you find the live on my page, either my business page or my personal page,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go into your messages and you just start spamming the mess out of people. You hit
Oh,
share, and then
absolutely.
it's just.
That's the awesome thing about having multiple screens. I can do that while I'm talking to you.
There you go. I love you too, Wayne. Listen, all of you guys benefit from Jermaine's psychoanalysis or whatever, so stop complaining. Just,
Do we?
just embrace it. It is a part of.
Wow, we're already getting into radical acceptance and it hasn't even started yet. Okay. All right, I get you. I get you.
Listen, it's
Can I
we
just like really get out the fact that I'm like super excited about tonight?
are you really?
I am.
I love to hear that. That's amazing.
I am. Because I always get nervous when I hear myself speak, but I'm always like down for opportunity to learn. That's what I came here to do.
We're here to learn from you. What do you mean? You are the
Not at
guest.
all. Not at all.
You
Not at
are
all.
the
I'm just.
expert. I'm just the facilitator at this point.
Mm-mm.
We here to learn from
I
you.
am the expert in nothing but my own experience and my stories.
And as a black man, that's why we're here. The space was created. There is an
Right.
echo, Wayne. It's I don't know why JQ stuff is echoing. But anywho, spam it. Did you do it? Did you go on my page?
I'm doing it. I'm literally as I'm multitasking. That's the thing about social workers. We can be present in the moment and be doing admin at the same time and not miss a beat.
Yep.
I am doing so. I love your page, by the way. It's really clean.
Thank you. All right. I think we should just kind of like get into
Hmm.
the introduction phase, and then people will come in as they come in. Everyone who's watching, feel free to do the same. Get on the page, start sharing it, spam the folks with everything. But I'm excited. I'm excited for all of my conversations because I honestly feel like every man that I have brought on and am bringing on, everyone has their own expertise, experience, their own swag. Like I appreciate the men that I have, in my circle. I appreciate all of you guys. So the fact that my audience gets a glimpse of what I get to, that I'm privileged to have conversations with these
Hmm.
men all the time is great. But without further ado, we was like 7 minutes in and didn't do any introduction. We were just kind of chit chatting. But anyway, the introduction of this man before me. Let's see. I think he kind of alluded to it, but JQ was a month ago, maybe.
Hmm.
We had orientation, and you know, we work in a space where there's not a lot of black and brown faces. And so when you walk into a room and you see a fellow black and brown face, you're like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? How you living?" So JQ is a what 2 times master's degree holder.
Yes. Two, almost be three soon.
Why are you echoing?
I don't know. It's. I think it's the volume thing. I'll adjust it, but
Do you have headphones and a regular
yeah,
thing?
I tried it with the headphones, but it wasn't. Am I still echoing?
It's slight now, but it's
I
there.
got you.
Okay. Anyway, the introduction. So JQ is a social worker, soon to be a licensed social worker. He does hold 2 degrees. The reason why I wanted to bring him here is because I think a lot of the perspectives that you get when it comes from a clinical standpoint is from women, um, or men, but not men of color. And so I was like, I have like someone who encapsulates both the men of color experience and the clinical experience. And I definitely appreciate who JQ is, like as a person. Like the theme of today is hood therapy, and a lot of people are like, what does that even mean? It's like, well, tune in, you'll find out. It's his brand. But I think him and I are alike in our approach to counseling, which is very much like who you are, matters. And I think
Hmm.
we're in a world where people try to change who we are to be like, yeah, if you want to be healthier, change all of these things. And I think JQ and I, but especially JQ, is allowing people to be who they are, their authentic self, no matter how weird, different, whatever it is. So we're here for it. We're here for it. And so I wanted to bring JQ on. I was kind of like, you have to do this. You
Hmm.
have to. And he agreed to it. So he's here.
Can't
JQ.
turn you down.
Good. I like that. No.
I mean, even if I tried, I don't think I actually could turn you down. But okay, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. Um,
Anyways, did I miss anything, JQ, in your lovely introduction?
I
Is there more?
literally, I don't think there's really anything I can add to that period. So now I'm a little bit nervous because I think
Nervous.
you actually spoke for hood therapy a little bit better than I have. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. That was a great intro. And
Well,
I,
no.
I also I do want to add something about our first meeting though.
Okay. Go for
So
it.
you walked in the room. You was late.
Wow. Okay. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep.
I was like, okay, that's my people's. Um, but being a clinician in that space, there was an inherent awkwardness for me, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just because I'm in my head, I'm just navigating some of the group dynamics and I'm thinking about so many things. But you walked in and had an immediate, there was immediate shift in the energy for me, right? And it was almost like many of the things I was thinking about really just like what just happened with that energy shift became a priority. And for me, like I crave conversation, I crave connection.
Mhm.
So, in the space that we're in, just geographically,
Yep.
to connect with someone who, again, just when they come in, their presence alone, like almost precedes them, right? Like there wasn't even a word said initially and things like that. It was just your presence spoke for itself. And it was just like, okay, I'm gonna create an opportunity to say something like, "What's up, sister?" Right?
Uh-uh.
And I told you, oh, you gave me a number after that. You was kind of smooth with it. I was like, oh, okay.
Lies. You gave me your number on a sticky note, but that's okay. Proceed with the story.
Oh, I did. After you said something about connecting afterwards, I was like, oh, okay, I got you. I see what you're putting out. But no, I think it goes to say where we're at, where we're located.
Hmm.
How just seeing one of our people walk in a room,
Hmm.
how just like amazing that feeling is,
Yeah.
right? I've traveled so much prior to the military, during the military, and things like that. But it took being out here in New Hampshire, the one of the states with the fewest black and brown people, to really appreciate on an individual level, just seeing like an experience like that, like just seeing one of my peoples walk through the door. I mean, I didn't know what kind of person you were. I didn't know your experience. I just know you look like me, right? So there was so many things going on in the moment,
Hmm.
and then to not only you know um, see someone, identify with them, but then also too to realize like this is not only my people's, but this is one of my people's that I share so much in common with,
Hmm.
and connected with,
Hmm.
and I loved it. That's why I love our interactions, even though sometimes they can get combative. I love that. I love that exchange. I really do because it hasn't been a frequent thing I've been able to really partake in since I've been out here. So you
Hmm.
have definitely been like a breath of fresh. I always tell you that you're a breath of fresh air, for me and stuff like that. And your perspectives have definitely like, if anything, made me think about you know what I'm doing. Really like helping me define kind of mold a little bit more what hood therapy looks like and stuff like that. So I
So can
appreciate
you tell the people what hood therapy is? Because
so
I heard a glimpse of the definition, but
no
I
so i
need
think i think you
to.
put it out there actually. So really, if I could give you a story, hood therapy really came out of an experience I had when I was home, and And really, it's just gonna get just real. Sitting on the block, I was went to go see my brother. I'm sitting on there. So every time I go home, it's the regular thing. I'm going to see the homies, sitting around, we chilling. And as I'm sitting there, this is back when I actually smoked cigarettes. We're smoking a cigarette, and he's really my brother's closest friend. He came up, and I've known him. He's younger than me. He didn't recognize me at first, but he comes up and he's talking to one of my brother's other friends, and he starts talking about his mom who is in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that he's holding back so much emotion, but trying to relay as much information because, people are concerned because, last they heard moms wasn't doing well. And I saw that brother. And when they talk about like transference and countertransference, like his energy was just like, oh my God, brother, like I know you, there's so much you're holding on to right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was a little awkward at first because I wanted to say something, but I was thinking like, oh, I don't know. And then finally I said, I mean, worst he can do is tell me to shut the hell up. So I kind of like introduced myself, talked about a couple things, and we kind of went through some stuff, just like some really like surface level, like CBT stuff, like, just thinking about the words that you're using when, you're talking about the situation, how they guide your feelings, how they guide how you're approaching things, and maybe just a pivot here and a shift here can like change an outlook and all of these things. That conversation initially lasted 15 minutes. And I want you to think about, I want you to get the visual in your head. This dude is about probably like 6'2", about 300 pounds, and nothing but muscle, just AKA what we call it, on the block, just a real hitter. And that 15 minutes, that brother broke down and cried.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And whenever somebody is just like vulnerable in the moment and the moment gets to them, like I know how powerful that is. But what I found interesting is I'm looking at, our friend right there. He's looking like, what the hell is going on? You know what I mean? Like, so I've known this dude for over 30 years and I ain't never seen him cry.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And as he's crying, like I embrace him and I tell him, like, yo, listen, there is help. You know what I mean? Like, we're here to support you. And, you're not alone going through this, allow your friends to be here. Basically put, it was just like, it wasn't a therapy session, but I realized as clinicians how many resources, how many tools we actually have in our tool bag that can really benefit the people.
Mm-hmm.
And how like some, we always say, right, meet people where they are.
Mm-hmm.
But where we at? You get what I'm saying? Like, we can't wait for them to come.
Yeah.
Right. We can. I'm not, and I've seen it because, I've watched all your I've watched all your videos. Right. And I'm reading the comments too, because I live in the comments. Comments are always like life for me. Right. And everybody's like, yeah, go to therapy. But I'm like, and do what? Go where? What kind of therapy are we talking about? You get what I'm saying? Like, and then we can't tell somebody to go to therapy. Right. We can't tell you to go to therapy. I don't want to suggest that. I'm not even setting you up for success because I'm literally telling you to do something. So you're gonna resist, possibly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even if you say, "Okay, I believe you. I'm gonna go to therapy." Now what? What options have I given you? Have I talked about what type of therapy and things like that, or what modalities? And even if we got past all that, we're in the middle of like one of the worst mental healthcare crisis where services are not available and it's health insurance and all these other things. So it's like for me, hood therapy is literally the primer to a bunch of things, whether it's therapy in the traditional sense, whether it's things that have a therapeutic aspect to it, because therapy is not the fix all. You know what I mean? There are other things that can benefit individuals healing. And it's like literally meeting individuals, really crafting something that is, personalizing it for their experience, respecting their experience. You know what I mean? Like somebody may like, okay, you know what? Maybe one day I'll go to therapy. But until then, what you got for me?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what I do. Like sometimes I sit down and I tell them like I won't be a therapist. What I'll do is I'll be the primer. I'll get you used to talking through these things. I'll
Mm,
get you used to the words. I'll get you used to the concepts. I'll get you used to so when you go, if you finally make that decision to go into a therapist's office or we find services for you. When you go in there, it's not just like, all right, fix me. It's all right. Here's what I want to accomplish.
mm,
And let's partner. Let's collaborate. You know
mm,
what I mean? I showed you mine. Now show me yours. And for me, I've seen it make a much better experience versus just. And for me, I just think it's dismissive. Go to therapy. Go get some help.
mm,
Right? That's AKA. All right. You know what? I listen to you. No, go away. Nah, I'm in the
yeah.
trenches with it. You know what I mean? That's why I hood therapy. I'm in the trenches. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times, especially, I was thinking I just got off a call with an individual who's in he's in jail right now, and he was like the first time he ever talked to like a counselor or a therapist is when he was locked up.
Mm,
And he was like, if I would have known some of the things I know now after talking to, I probably wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, it's like literally bringing these ideas, bringing these concepts, bringing the knowledge that we've, had the privilege and the opportunity to receive ourselves at the academic level, and really making it available and palatable in a lot of instances for those who really truly need it.
mhm,
So that's her therapy, and it's a living, breathing, thing. Sometimes it changes, and there's multiple aspects. And even when I say the hood, I don't, just mean the hood. As in urbanized areas. I mean any space that doesn't reflect and mirror, I mean, the dominant culture. You know, sometimes it's making, creating safe and brave space for our gender and sexual minorities because we know services are extremely limited out here for them. So it's like for anybody who needs it, like making sure you have access, making sure that you have, some level of support and things like that. So that's hood therapy in a bunch of
mm,
words.
a bunch of words.
In a bunch of
So
words.
let's talk about like you talked about the only thing that you're an expert in is your experience as a black man. Now, I had an interesting conversation with one of my really close friends today, and he was talking about the reality for a black man is that you probably won't make it past 25 if you're lucky. And then every day you do, you're kind of like, how do I feel empowered as a man, knowing that there's a target on my back? And sometimes living is hard, but the goal every day for a black man is to
Mhm,
return home to your loved ones
mhm,
every single day and the kind of weight that that carries. So, since you are able to provide both the perspective
mhm,
of someone who was in the hood who had to
mhm,
survive and the black man experience, but then you're also one who is clinically sound.
mhm.
How do you how did you overcome that? And then how do you empower other black men to feel like life is not just survival?
That's a hefty one right there, sister. That's a hefty question.
Hmm.
Ooh, that's what question number one. Damn, okay.
You're welcome. No, question number one was hood therapy. What is it?
Oh, her therapy. Okay, question number two. Still, ooh, you came out swinging. All right. So I gotta break that down. So break that down the first part for me.
How did you overcome?
How to overcome. If I may, as far as like overcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still navigating. I'm still figuring things out.
That's fair.
And like, as you alluded to, what the brother said, for me, that is the reality for a lot of us, right? Um, that particular mindset may not be found in all of us, right? I've met brothers from different walks of life as far as a financial standpoint or class standpoint, and some agree with that perspective, some don't, things like that. I think for me, one of the ways that I've navigated like my identity as far as being a black man and things like that is being able to extrapolate qualities and knowledge from all of these different perspectives from different black men and also from black women, just black people in general,
Hmm.
right? And really, using it to, build myself up, build, my knowledge base up, and also fortify myself. And, I mean, using, elements from their experiences, edification for myself. Because growing up the way I grew up in New York, yeah, I grew up in the hood. I mean, you name it, Brooklyn, Southside, Jamaica, Queens. I'm from all those areas. As
Hmm.
seriously, I'll tell you, like when I say I'm from New York, I'm really from New York. You know what I mean? Like when people shout in our areas, I'm like, yeah, I lived there. You know what I mean? That project, yeah, I was there. But one thing about it is, I also had exposure to other things. I've had that opportunity. I've had that. I've had so many things presented to me, and being able to take advantage of some of it. And of course, retrospect, probably could have did a better job of taking advantage of other things. But for me, navigating myself, navigating in this world as a black man, really, it hinged on a lot of like being able to count on other black men and other black women and learn from them, and be open to letting them mold me, which again has both sides, because sometimes you do learn, social learning and things like that, you pick up some bad habits and maybe some problematic perspectives. But that's how I've navigated the world, constantly connecting with individuals, and really just again learning, being a lifetime learner. um as far as like that and like mental health, I guess, like um I think that's what guides my work too, guided me in there. Like I needed answers too.
Hmm.
I'm not even kidding with you, like I needed answers. And it came out of me having to go to therapy,
Yeah.
right? Like through the VA. Like I'm also a veteran as well, Navy veteran. And I think it's so important. I don't ever hold back like any kind of like private information about diagnosis. Like I was diagnosed with PTSD while I was in,
Hmm.
and I didn't know what that was. I heard about it. I didn't know what that was. I just know like there was some things that just wasn't right. You know what I mean? And but then also too, like I had this diagnosis, but nobody explained it to me.
Hmm.
They put words on a piece of paper. And I used to think like PTSD when it came to veterans was like those dudes that was wilding out, shooting off rules and stuff like that. Like that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm not bad. I'm just um, drinking every night, going out to the clubs, popping bottles, you know, just like workaholic. I'm playing hard, I'm working hard, and it was just like, nah, you know, we know that different mental health disorders present in different ways, and I needed answers because I realized that that resiliency that had got me through a lot of my life was a blessing, but as with any blessing, it can quickly turn into a curse, right? And yeah, I was resilient. I was putting my body and my mind and my soul through so many things. I knew I couldn't continue that, and I needed answers. And finally, I turned to the VA because it was free. I was like, I need answers, and I went to therapy. And as you can tell, my personality from our personal conversations, I question everything. Like, why are you doing that? What's that about?
Yeah.
Like, why'd you use that word? And then that sparked like me reading and just doing a whole bunch of. And I was just like, you know what? Just do it myself. You know what I mean? And then I swear to you, my therapist at the time was like, oh, you really think you can do this? Then go do it. All right. I'm up for the challenge. And she literally signed the papers and got me back into graduate school. And I found my calling. I found my purpose because I've always been active as far as like, if you want to label it social justice and community activism and stuff like that. But I
Hmm.
found my purpose. I found something like I found something. I'm like, oh, I'm taking back to the hood. They need this. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
excited. I was like, for the first
Yeah.
time, I was really like, it wasn't about the money because I know if tomorrow they told me they'd never pay me ever again for this, I'm gonna still do it. I'm gonna probably do it even harder. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like that was it. So me navigating my way as a black man, me trying to find a way to heal or find the answers that I needed to heal led me to my purpose. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It was only by the grace of God too that, you know what I mean, all of this transpired the way it did.
yeah. So, like, we're definitely going to get back to the part B of the question that I asked.
Hmm.
But what you said, I think, is it speaks to the passion as to why we do what we do. I
Hmm.
remember reading a book in grad school, and it said the word. I don't remember if the book was called Wounded Healer, but
Hmm.
nonetheless, the phrase wounded healer was talking about how
Hmm.
clinicians, a lot of us start in this field because of some unhealed thing inside of us and something that we went through.
Hmm.
And this is our way of, yes, healing self, but making sure others around us are healed as well.
I agree.
And the reason why, I say we're like minded in some sort is that like I always said when I started this way back in undergrad, I said I want to be able to go out to the people because the people who I need to reach, they're probably not going to walk through the doors of
Facts.
the therapy office.
Big
And I
facts.
say the same thing about church as well. I'm
Big
like,
fa- big fa- big facts.
if I am their introduction to God, if I am their introduction to the love of Christ, I have to go out. Like they're not going to walk through the door because of the stigmas. Like stigmas attached to a lot of things,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to God and especially when it comes to mental health. And I like what you were saying about how, the fuel that's inside of you is not I'm going to sit behind a desk and I'm going to talk to people who have the means and the resources to get to me. I'm
Hmm.
going to learn, I'm going to take everything that I can and I'm going back. I'm giving back to the community that raised me or communities like it because I know what it's like to have to survive in
Big
some of
facts.
the worst conditions, whether it be in a battlefield, like a
Hmm.
physical, literal one because you are a
Hmm.
vet, or the battlefield that is just regular America for a black man.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for highlighting that. But back to part B.
Okay,
Since
part B.
you have survived and overcome a lot of and I'm sure you didn't share everything, but
Hmm.
you shared enough where it's like you've clearly endured some things. So how do you encourage other black men? Because in episode 2, I think I talked to someone about building community and how men
Hmm.
don't seem to have community.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't know what y'all not doing, but
Hmm.
community. How do we influence it? How do we create it? What's your role? Talk.
Um, I think for me, if I can just go to that, what was the last episode
Okay.
that we were talking about, and I
Hmm.
watched that brother.
Hmm.
I think about that, right? And I think about that experience he had on camera where he was so vulnerable and he opened up in front of everybody,
Hmm.
right? And I thought about it like, damn, that must feel good. It may
Mm.
feel awkward, but it gotta feel good
Yeah.
because he was holding. He's still holding on a lot. I'm like, and I think I told you, I said I got emotional because I watched it like 3 times, and
Mm.
I was just like, if I could, I wanted to come through the computer and just like hug that brother and tell him like, yo, I got you, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's like with anything, and it's the humanistic side, right? Like
Mhm.
when you know how good it feels to realize that you are not broken,
Mm.
when you realize like all the stuff that the world tells you on a daily basis
Mhm.
is false.
Mm.
I'm not broken, I'm not a heathen, I'm not nothing. I'm human,
Yeah.
right? All that, and even the things that our parents taught us, and they were just doing their best, and other guys taught us about, what it is to be a man, and all of those things. We know those messages are tainted, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we know when we unlearn things and we fill that space with things that are productive and beneficial to us, living our best life, like how can you want to hold that to yourself, right? Like, yo, like I look at it as anything. You go out to a restaurant, you got a nice meal, like yo, you gotta have the. right? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they got the. But imagine that times 1,000. Like, yo, bro, yo, I just cried the other day. So felt real good. You know what I'm saying? My
Hmm.
thing is like we gotta share the message that is so much more out there. There's so much life out there if we just talk. And talking, there's so much more that has to be done than just talking. But it's like I want to share the joy of what it is to like offload some of that burden, to
Hmm.
free up some emotional, spiritual, and cognitive space, and like just like do some spring cleaning, like get some of this out of here. Like, yo, don't need to hold it. There's something I tell. It's like a little analogy I've told clients. I tell the young kids that I mentor. I say from the time you were born, God hands you a bag, and as you navigate your life, things go in that bag. Experiences, lessons, and trauma, all this stuff goes in that bag. I said, so what we do is we find spaces where we feel safe to open that bag, right? And we take a look in, and we may even invite somebody, call it a therapist, call it a counselor, whatever, to look in there with us. And if it's me, man, I turn to you and I say, all right, what's that? Tell me what you like. Oh yeah, that's the stuff I was going through the other day. This happened, right? And that's gonna be fresh on our brain. It's gonna be right on top of that bag because it just happened. But then as I peek in that bag, I'm like, yo, what's that down there? You look down there, you like, oh, nah, I don't know what that is. It's been down there. You know what I'm saying? But then, me and you trust me, and then we go in there, we take it out, we realize, all right, you know what? Maybe we need to shift it so it can fit in that bag and you can navigate a little bit better. Don't that feel good, brother? Now you can move a little bit better. You can free up. You can walk like you know what I mean. You get a little pep in your step, and that's the thing. You just gotta be willing to like talk and trust. But again, how can I even tell my brothers to get there when a lot of us ain't even there? We literally not there. We not setting them up for success when it comes to even having the convos,
Hmm.
right? We're not even setting them up for that.
Hmm.
I love the fact that people are engaging in the conversations, and I love the fact that there are words that they now have as part of their lexicon. But
Hmm.
there has to be some guidance,
Hmm.
right? There has to be some accurate and meaningful guidance and purposeful guidance, right?
Hmm.
And you got to be there with them, right?
Yeah.
You literally got to be there with them because I tell brothers the mental health profession needs you just as much as you may need it.
Hmm.
I said, when you go and you talk to a therapist or whatever the case may be, you're making that person a better therapist, clinician, or whatever the case may be, just as much as they're like, helping you, navigate and, giving you tools to help you navigate and live your best life. Like it's a reciprocation. You know what I mean? It's like you sharpening them, they help sharpening you. Like, you know what I mean? But if we're not there, we can't even have that convo. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, man. I just want everybody to be happy and live their best life, but I can't even do that unless I'm 10 toes down where the people are, both from a conceptual point and a logistical operational point. Like I got to be 10 toes down where the people are who definitely need that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think what you were speaking to is, first of all, great. The words, the eloquent way that you express yourself, love it. I
Did you just hit me with the "you talk so well" joint?
And then when you sound like that, it's like, oh, okay, well, yes, we are still, hood. Yeah. I like how you are like highlighting key aspects of what it means to like kind of give back and to remember your own experience when you're trying to
Mhm.
support other people. And this is why I created this series, because I think unfortunately there are a lot of spaces where black men, or men in general, but especially
Mhm.
black men, are not encouraged or even allowed to emote. They're not allowed to be anything other than the
Mhm.
typical strong man.
Mhm.
And I wanted to, because I think the narratives that are created about men are always coming from a female's perspective, right? So men are dogs and men ain't da, 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 and
Okay. Okay.
it's
I can get that. But here's the thing too with black men. If and again, I always say that just and I always like preface with them. I don't want to like overgeneralize, right?
Mhm.
But I think for me too, being able to like engage in this conversation and being able to talk through like that, I think it's going to be an incredible assist when it comes to black women in so many different ways. So many different ways because one of the like little, one again, common thing, protect black women.
Yep.
Well, I told somebody the other day, there's levels to this. I can't protect something that I don't value,
Mhm.
right? And there's been a disconnect between black men and black women for so long because of this male privilege that we do have. So I said we literally have to like re-engage in that work to get to the point where we can protect black women. I said we need to start with connecting with black women,
Mhm.
then valuing black women. You know what I mean? Taking the load off black women. You get what I mean? Like black women have carried it, gangster, like straight carried it. There's no debating. There's no gender wars. Black women have carried it. We want to talk about from a research perspective. Black women traditionally, no matter where they are socioeconomically, will vote for the greater of the group.
Mhm.
Black men, we will vote based on where we are at economically.
Mm.
Fact, right?
Mhm.
Black women from going all the way back to being enslaved Africans to now have
Mhm.
carried us. And guess what? They've done it by, living this, in spite of living this intersectional existence where they're getting it from all different angles. Black women wake up every single day in a world that says, I don't give a damn about you. Care how well you do. Care about you. Care.
Yeah.
Oh, you smart? Care. I'm
Mhm.
gonna steal your ideas. I'm gonna discount you at every point. Right? Pulitzer
Mhm.
Prize winner. 1619 Project. Right? Nicole Hannah Jones
Mhm.
comes out with beautiful 1619 Project. Right? Man, listen. Got fired on all sides to discount her. Right?
Yeah.
Every black woman in some space, black women can't even go into the hospital or have a baby in the most developed country out there without dying.
Mhm.
You pick it, you throw a rock, and you know what? There's something saying that we don't care.
Yeah.
And have we somehow, as black men, have we contributed? You damn right. So at some point, we need to develop the tool. We need to like learn to use the tools and the competency to connect, to reconnect, and continuously connect with our black women in order to really get to that point where we can truly value them. So when I say like, oh, you don't treat black women like that, they need to see the way they need to treat them, right?
Mhm.
Not just like, oh, showing up when somebody disrespect them. No, I want to show you how you're supposed to treat them, right? I want to show you that, right? So when I say protecting, we fix externally, starting internally. I got to start with me. I got to start with how I address you. I got to start with how I see you. I got to see
Mhm.
you as an equal. I got to, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? I got to value. I got to value your experience. I got to
Yeah.
value that we both are individuals of color, but I will never have your experience in so many different levels. I will never know what it feels like to be a woman. You don't know if they coming at you because you're black or you're a woman. You don't make a certain. You don't know that,
Mhm.
right? So for me, it's like just also navigating myself as a black man. It's also too like I gotta make sure my counterparts are good. And also, when I say black women, I also want to make that inclusive to trans identify women as well. Black trans identify women who they get killed and died and nobody cares about them. Also to, in the kind of gender and sexual minorities, you know what I mean? All of them, like nobody cares. So I got
Mhm.
to do the me work so that I can get to the point where I can protect, where I can educate and things like that. It starts with the me work.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's, again, hood therapy, you heard?
I think what I appreciate the most is that you have both the street knowledge and the book knowledge, like the way that you are intertwining like hood and like academia, and you're kind of like intertwining it. I believe that's what hood therapy really is, right?
Got to.
And
Got to.
honestly, I get asked all the time, like, how is it that I'm able to reach the kind of people that I
Mm-hmm.
can reach or whatever? And it's like because I meet them where they are. Like I'm not like, yes, I have degrees, yes, I have a license now, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I want to talk to people who like I can't talk up here, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
in my ministry or whether it's me professionally, which they really go hand in hand if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can't talk above people where they can't see themselves elevating or they can't see themselves healed, right? You have to talk to
Mm-hmm.
them and it's like, listen, I get it. Like I had deep, deep insecurity issues. And I had to battle that for years. So when I'm interacting with girls and they're like, I don't, I feel ugly and I feel this, I was like, yeah, you're going to. You're going to feel a lot of things because
Mm-hmm.
society heavily tries to
Mm-hmm.
dictate how you view self, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are not the epitome of beauty according to society standards, sure, you're going to feel away, but it's in those conversations you keep it real, you
Mm-hmm.
keep it honest. Like I tell people all the time, I was like, you're gonna get a little bit of psychology 101, you're gonna get street 101, you're gonna get all
Ah,
this information
facts. Big fact.
because you can't just say, well, I understand that you are projecting some
Mm-hmm.
distorted version of self because cognitively you are.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be like, I'm sorry, what?
What?
Like
What you talking?
what?
What
And
you
I feel
talking?
like you
What we talking about?
right, and you do that, like you
Mm-hmm.
speak their language because you are them. And I think that's what representation is all about, which leads
Mm.
me to my next question. Like
Gotcha.
representation matters, right? We know
Mm-hmm.
this because we come from like a deep ethnic place, and now currently where we live, it's like
Not so
we are
much.
like the 2%
Not so
in
much.
here now.
Yeah.
And we had a personal conversation the other day, and you were telling me about a situation you had at work where that black boy saw
Mm.
you and everything in his body shifted.
Everything.
And so when we talk about hood therapy, of course, but also representation,
Mm-hmm.
how do you view the importance, the significance, if you will, of representation in the field that we're in?
I thought about that, right? And I will honestly say it's interesting that you brought that up. That particular situation with that, without giving out details, when I saw how much it meant to see a professional, not only just to see a black man walk through the door, but it was just like, oh, that's you? Like, you're a clinician? Yeah, what's up? We could talk, right?
Yeah.
But then when I saw like the tears in his eyes when I said that you are seen, you are valued, you are loved, you are heard,
Hmm.
and if nobody around you tells you like someone cares,
Hmm.
and to see like who you know in that space is like has his guard up always because he has an intersectional existence. When I saw that, I think for me, I thought I had an idea of how important representation was,
Hmm.
and that interaction. I'm like 39 now, and it's still sitting with me.
Hmm.
Like it literally shifted. Like I put critical importance on it right now. Like seeing somebody, like being able to trust somebody,
Hmm.
right? And for me, it puts even more pressure on me to ensure that I'm doing what I need to do because if just by the way I look, you trust me, or just a little bit, or willing to
Hmm.
open up to me, I want to make sure that it receives the maximum value and the maximum and the most highest quality of service and attention that I can give you. But like even as I'm thinking, I think what's making me stutter is I was just thinking about his eyes. Like there was times I was worried because he wasn't blinking, and I was just like, oh crap, like And but then here's the crazy thing is I'm just equally fascinated with you. Like if only if you knew, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm loving you too. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm fascinated with you, young black man. You get what I'm saying? I love like where other people see defiant behavior, I see just like passion, rawness, and I'm like, yeah, oh, you just need a little calibrated here and there, some tools, and you be straight. And I just also too with that, like just realizing like I know how isolating and how lonely it can be.
Mm-hmm.
So I know like right now we not even me and you we talking, but we connected on a whole different level.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, I told somebody, and I'm not really like exaggerating this. It felt like our ancestors have formed a barrier and a bubble around us, and we was in our and for remember that part in Black Panther where he went to the go visit the ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
That's where me and him went. Like our bodies were still there. Me and him left.
Mm-hmm.
We had our own. So much so that the people around us just couldn't. They couldn't even find a point of entry into the convo.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That never happens. You
Right.
know, people always got to be seen and heard in those spaces. They couldn't
Mm-hmm.
because we
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
We wasn't there.
Yeah.
When you want to say there was a spiritual barrier that was up that was keeping those forces at bay that was allowing us to connect, I'm not I'm not exaggerating that.
Yeah.
Like again, just to hear someone saw you, just to, even for a little bit, like, you know, because his the environment's sort of kind of like chaotic, but we didn't hear anything. That I swear to you. Just imagine being in a room and there's people and all that. It's very hard to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Not for us. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't hear anything. We didn't hear people talking in the back. We didn't hear the yet. Yeah, none of that. Because we weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
We were not there. We connected. So when you talk about references, I say it's critical.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's critical. That's why there's a movement in New York right now about getting brothers who are have been involved in the criminal justice system to take more of a role in mental health, peer support, things like that. Right? It's like a subset of like restorative justice and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because these brothers can be gatekeepers. Like I need. This is why I said like the hood needs like therapeutic intervention, and mental health need the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need each other. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And that brother right there, that young brother who I know for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is gonna grow up and be something so amazing. I promise you, right?
Yeah.
That young brother did more for me, like going forward, than I was able to do in that 45 minutes I was with him. And it literally, at the center of that was the fact that he saw a black man. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't just see a regular black man. Because remember, I told you when I walked in, he saw the other person with me. He thought, oh, okay, maybe. But when he said, all right, you go there, I'm gonna go talk to my brother over here. It was like, oh, yes. That's the thing. So I swear to God, I'm gonna, you can tell, like, that experience was so transformative. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
those moments too as clinicians where we fall in love with the profession all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a daily grind with us, right? And you know me, I mean like you know what I'm saying on the daily, but I'll call you up like, yo, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm out. I'm done with this place, right?
Yeah.
And then you have that. And that right there, that was God reminding me. Like you here for a purpose. You get what I'm saying? Like walking your truth. You know what I'm saying? And he threw me one because I was struggling. It's hard to keep this up because it's tough for us, especially as a black man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a black man. And just real quick to show you the seriousness of it, and I think I told you about what happened. I have to go to work every day, like you said, navigating being a black man. And I work in crisis response. So I'm seeing people when things are not so well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The day before I had to go to work, I had a gun pulled on me by police. Right? And when I say, like, I've been around guns before, and my first time around guns, but in my head, and I'm still unpacking that. Any kind of smoke I ever got into before is different than when a police officer during a routine traffic stop pulls a gun on you.
Mm-hmm.
Like my soul is shaking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because in that time I can't defend myself. You know what I mean? Like me and you have had conversations about firearms and stuff like that. I always put myself, I value life and I love life, but I always put myself where I can protect my own. And I do very well at it. But in
Mm-hmm.
that instance, like I was helpless. I was powerless. Like somebody pulled a gun on me for a traffic stop. A $62 ticket could have cost me my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day I have to show up and be present,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when people talk about like therapy and things like that and stuff like that, just understand that our personal lives and the ability to disconnect that when we're meeting you and still be present, that's a hard thing to do sometimes. But then I think about him. Imagine if I would have let my mind not be there and be present. Imagine the kind of that I would have missed that opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's my thing. So I just had to add that in there. I don't know why. I swear to God, I want to reconnect with that kid so much. It was so beautiful. Like I think about it, like it was like, and there was something I want to circle back to that you said, and it's been sitting on me about talking to people and all of that. That's what Jesus did. I don't know why people don't. People always joke. I always say, yo, Jesus was wow. Probably the OG of OGs, right? Jesus was OG number one.
Mm-hmm.
Went where the people went. He went where nobody else would go,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
He talked to the people that people was like, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you really know that word, I mean, if you really know that word, look at the difference in the analogies and the stories that Jesus used with the different crowds. If he was around fishermen, it was something that had to do with fish. If it was
Mm-hmm.
farmers, it was something that had to do with farming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Jesus was the first to meet them where they at, right? He was the first.
Yeah.
When we talk about housing first model, that's you stealing that from Jesus. Because Jesus was like, oh yeah, before I even talk that, yo, do me a favor, hand me that bread and that whiting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pass that out. Pass all that out. Yeah, they hungry. They ain't listen to this. You know why? Because he knows, like, you ain't listen to this when your stomach rumbling,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't feed you hope. He knew people needed, but he
Mm-hmm.
also know they needed hope, faith, and all that other stuff. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, yo, Jesus was an OG, man. He met the people where they was at. He spoke to the people. He made it palatable. But what he didn't do, he didn't front with them. Jesus gave it to you raw, but he gave it to you with love,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
the like he was the embodiment of love. That didn't mean like, and yo, can we just put? We talked about it the other night. Jesus did wild out in the temple though too. I don't know why we don't never really tell that story when Jesus was wild in the temple, flipping tables, throwing stuff. Because he was like, yo, so when you talk about me and how I get down sometimes, and I'm a little radical with it, Jesus did it. Jesus saw something that wasn't right, and what he do? He was like, nah, this is not going down in my father's house.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to get a little, shake things up a little bit if they're not right. Just saying. Jesus said, I did. You got to take it up with him. You got to take it up with the big man.
Yep. So, I we have to wrap this up. But
Okay, got you.
again, if you want to come back, listen, Tuesday night.
That's all up to your visitors and your guests, man. If they have me back, and if you have me back, I'll be here. Oh, damn! So it's been an hour. I talk way too much. I talk way too. I gotta stop that. But I'm in the right field. I talk all day.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I of course want to say thank you for coming on, your expertise and how you are able to again take the hood, take academia, and you put it together and you make it not just into a brand, but you make it into your life's purpose.
Mm.
Love that, and I appreciate that about you. I appreciate the fact that you are, as you would say, standing 10 toes down
And so yeah.
on what it is that you believe in, you stand by it. And the way that you're able to articulate the experience that you have and show up for other people, that's what is needed. I feel like the more that Black men can do that, show up for other people and be the light, be
Mm.
the one that connects you to whoever it is you need to be or whatever it is you need to connect to. And if we can get more people like that, I believe we can actually start a trend
Win,
of,
win,
yeah,
win,
yeah, like
win. We get more like that.
healing and growth
Mhm.
and awareness and connectedness and all of those lovely things that is clearly missing in the world today. So again, JQ, appreciate you coming in. If you're watching this live or if you're going to watch this again, when it's still going to be on the page. Thank you for coming in. I hope you got something from it. I'm learning every single day. I'm learning from these guys. Like, this is the first time I'm talking to them. JQ, again, thank you for coming. Tuesday is the new year. Oh my goodness, 2022 is over, y'all. As of Saturday, we're done with 2022. So I decided to have my first episode in the new year with my best friend. He is sort of the inspiration behind this. Or
Ooh.
part of the inspiration. God, of course,
Go
is the
best friend. Go best friend. Go best
period.
friend. Go best friend.
My best friend Darren will be here that Tuesday. I believe it's the 3rd. We're going to be talking about his mental health journey. We're going to talk about side effects. Side effects of
Ooh.
medication, yes, but side
Ooh, ooh,
effects,
ooh, ooh, ooh.
right?
Ooh, ooh.
Tune in, guys.
Tune
Like,
it in.
tune in.
And real quick before you go, I want to say
Uh,
thank you to you, but I want to just remind you that God is working with you, around you, and through you. Continue to be that blessing and continue to allow Him to bless you. You are an amazing, amazing individual. I am so fortunate to have you as part of my friend circle now. Even though you yell at me and you say really mean things to me when we get offline,
wow.
sometimes. Yeah, putting it out there. She does. But I appreciate you and I appreciate your audience. And listen, I love you, sister. I want to create space for all Black women. I love all of y'all. And listen, we're gonna connect again. You know what I mean? Just don't yell at me when we get off. I gotta feel my phone about to ring or something. So, oh, don't make that face. Look,
Y'all, you can connect with him even though his name says JQ. Jonathan Stewart is his name. That's
got
what it
you.
is on Facebook. So reach out, men, reach out to him. I'm going to start filtering a lot of people to him and some other people that you will
Build
see.
community. Build community. Let's go. We'll
Yeah.
talk. Let's
Yeah.
do
All
it.
right, y'all. I will see you Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Until then, Happy New Year's, everyone.
Salam.
Thank
Happy New Year's.
you.
Happy New
Happy
Year's.
New Year's. See you.
Take care, bro. All
Bye.
right.